going on, guys? My name is Pipknot, and today we are playing Dark Souls. I am a big fan of Dark Souls. I've played all three of them and all the DLC for all three of them. The only one I haven't beaten is Dark Souls 2, because I like the challenge from 1 and 3. I don't think they're overly complicated, but I also don't think that they're like, I guess, insanely hard. But 2's difficulty spike is just through the roof, because it's easy for a certain point, but then every time I've played it, I've just hit a wall and never been able to pass it. So I plan on doing a series where I go through each of the classes, which I guess could seem like a lot, but I like the game to that extent that I would actually do this. So we've got Warrior, Knight, Wanderer, Thief, Bandit, Hunter, Sorcerer, Pyromancer, Cleric, and Deprived. I'm probably just going to start out as a Warrior. Let's see. They've got pretty much even stats as far as like strength, dexterity, health. So that'll be the one I go with. My starting gift, we've got none. Let's see. Goddess Blessing, which is pretty much just a HP restore. Black Firebomb. That is just a more powerful regular firebomb, which we'll see a lot of these, like this, the firebomb, twin humanities, binoculars. Let's see, those are all things. Oh, and the tiny beings ring. You can get every single one of those in game as a regular item. So unless you just want one from the second you start the game, it's pretty much pointless. The only one really worth getting is the Master Key, because it opens certain locks in game that I do not think you can open otherwise, or you have to wait a really long time till you find the key to open them. This can open them pretty much right out of the gate, which can give you a big advantage. The Old Witch's Ring, really, I think it allows you to talk to a certain NPC that otherwise has no voice lines in the game. And it's one NPC that you really, other than just really wanting to figure out the story of that character, has no reason to talk. I'll explain more of the stuff when we get to them. The pendant literally says it has no effect, but fond memories comfort travelers. This is a pure joke item. It's telling you the truth. Like a game like Dark Souls, you would think, well, that's a lie. They're saying that so you'll never pick it, but secretly it has some use. It actually has no use. Picking it is literally the same as going up here and just picking none. So I'll be going with the Master's Key, average, keep my face the same, hair. Go for more of the swept back. And color, I like to make my color usually silver. Silver. Sometimes I'll go with gray. For the most part, I go with silver. And We've got other, you can customize face type, maturity, hormones, features. You can really go into detail with some of your customization. And a name. So we need a name. And I'm going to name my character. Oh, let me think. Go with something. We'll go with that. Dakon. Which is a reference to something if you get, leave in the comments. And let's start.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bullets peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Ooh, that is a lot to take in. I will, for the most part, as we go, explain kind of what's happening, because the
Yes,
story of this
indeed.
game... Oh,
The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
alright. I didn't want to interrupt the cutscene because it is important, if you want to know the story to the game, to hear everything that was pretty much just said. I'll kind of keep, explain what I know about the game, or what I take from stuff, because the story of this game can be either as obscure or as in plain sight as you make it. It's one of those, a lot of stuff is left open-ended, lots of things raise more questions than answers, and you can get some of a definitive story from item descriptions, but pretty much what all was just said with that long cutscene is, one day, it's pretty much everything was ruled by dragons, and it was just gray. It was stagnant. Nothing ever happened because dragons lived forever and were the only things in existence other than trees. So one day, fire kind of just started for no reason, and because that happened, that was a change. So things went from being the same constantly to, hey, there's these little dudes coming up out of the ground now. Well, in the fire was some souls that these guys, Nito, the Witch of Izalith, Gwen, and I think someone else, the furtive pygmy, got a hold of. Gwen's was the most powerful, and because of that, he actually had power to spare and gave parts of his soul to a couple other characters, which we'll come in contact with, and I'll explain who they are and stuff when we do. But they did not like the fact that the dragons ruled everything, so Seath, the Scaleless, which I think actually got a part of Gwen's soul, he's one of the guys, pretty much told him, hey, you have the power of sunlight, which manifests in this world as lightning. That has the ability to hurt the dragons. It alone couldn't kill them, but it had the ability to make them to where they could be injured. The Witch of Izalith basically burned down all their houses, destroyed the land to where they really couldn't live anywhere. There was no shelter for them to hide. And then after Gwen got done tearing their scales apart, Nito pretty much finished them off with disease and everything he had, which was basically just, he is the personification of death. We're actually getting ready to encounter, because, this is Dark Souls, the very first thing you gotta do fight a boss, which I will not be doing, because I can just do that. Bonfires are basically safe spaces. As you could have seen, we had a little dude standing there. That was a phantom. The closer they are to a bonfire, the more you can see them. One of the many challenges to this game is that as you're playing, minding your own business, random other actual players can just come into your world and just ruin your entire day. Alright, so now we've got a shield and a sword. Better than that little rinky, half-broken sword we had. And I'm going to stab him in the back. And every time you kill something, you get souls. Souls are the currency. They are what you buy stuff, how you upgrade. Pretty much everything in the game revolves around that mechanic. And we almost got destroyed. Oh, he actually got me. Yeah, he was waiting for us there. So we have the option here. We can either go right back into the room and fight the guy, or if we hold off for a little bit, talk to this guy.
You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family, "Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know." Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
And we get the Sunny D.
Oh, and this. Now I must bid
and
farewell.
A key.
I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Poor guy just ain't gonna make it. He pretty much dies as soon as we leave the room, he dies. But in this world, death really doesn't mean anything, because pretty much everybody has, if I can, has this, the dark sign. So the dark sign is pretty much your brand of you can't die, but at the same time, every time you would have died, you lose a part of yourself. You go a little bit more insane till the point that you completely lose who you are and you become what these guys are. These are hollows. They have basically little to no control over what they're doing. They're hostile for no reason. And if the game tells anything, these used to be actual people. And they've just died so many times that there's just nothing left of them other than just a corpse that attacks anything that it sees. And what happens is, just like with any fire, a fire will only burn for so long. So, what was that? In this world, the fire's basically going out, and the ruler, which is Gwen, did not like that idea. He wanted to continue to be in charge. the fire going out would mean that he would no longer be in charge. So he would lose all of his power and everything. He sacrificed himself to keep the fire burning. And that just causes a whole load of problems for everybody involved, because that's not the natural order of things. There's people who believe that the Age of Dark, which is what they would call after the fire burns out, that is the natural order, that is the next step in what is supposed to happen. But there's also the people that believe that they need to keep the fire going as long as possible, because that means they stay in control longer. And now, instead of fighting that boss on an unfair playing field, I get a ton of extra damage off on him. A few times. He doesn't hit, I mean, as hard as some of the people in this game are gonna hit, but taking damage from him isn't good. He is like the easiest boss, though. We get the big Pilgrim's Key. And some humanity. And actually, if you can see the screen shaking and you can hear that stomping. There's actually another one of him directly under this floor. And this is an area we can come back to. But there's another one of him right underneath where I'm standing that we can fight later. But as for like the story, Gwen pretty much decided, because there's a legend that one chosen undead is going to bring about the Age of Dark and is basically going to put an end to his rule. Well, since he's so scared of that happening, he actually takes every undead he can get his hands on, and this is the end of the world right here. Like, we're on the very edge of, I guess, the known world, as far as we can possibly be from him. And we're locked here to basically await the actual end of the world. And there's an NPC, actually, right over here. We can't talk to him right now, but you can lay items in this nest and then leave and come back, and the item will have changed into something different depending on what you left. There's only a few items that actually produce anything when you leave them. And we're fixing to run up on another cutscene right here.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall meet to leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
So yeah, this is the land that they're calling the Ancient Lords right here. This huge... I mean, we're just on a very, very small, like, cliff on the side of a mountain that leads up to just a ginormous city. And this is our first opportunity to no longer look like a burnt piece of bacon. Using humanity and then offering it to a bonfire reverses your hollowing and basically turns you back into a normal human. See, now we're normal. And there are other humans that are normal. like this guy right here, but he's not the nicest guy to talk
Well,
to.
what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
So, we are supposed to be ringing... Well, originally, the way it goes is that there's only 1 bell of awakening. Multiple people have busted out of the undead asylum and come here, and so far every single one of them have gone hollow before actually accomplishing anything. But there's actually 2 bells. Once you get here, you find out. Like, see, that's kind of how the game is it's trying to build a story that everyone's told one thing, but it's really, everything is skewed. You really can't believe anything anybody tells you.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thoroland. Have you business with us? If not, I prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
This is a guy that will sell you miracles if you choose to use faith. I am not going to be using any kind of miracles because our faith and intelligence are very, very low, and attunement is low. Basically, what these stats are: vitality controls your health, attunement controls how many spell slots you have, which is how many spells you can use. I believe endurance affects your equip load. You can actually become over encumbered and then you can't move. Strength just controls like how big of a weapon you can hold. Dexterity is how swift kind of your movements are with certain weapons. It's basically the same as strength. Weapons will have certain requirements, like 25 strength and 10 dexterity to use, and that's how to use it effectively to get the most damage. Resistance basically just affects your overall like defensive stats. It affects like all of them, and your bleed resist, poison resist, and curse resist. And then faith and intelligence are required to be at certain thresholds to use certain sorceries or miracles, and the only exception to that is pyromancies. Pyromancies do not require either. I think in this game they don't require either. But in... let me check real quick. I think in Dark Souls 3 it requires both. I'm not exactly sure. It's been a very long time since I've played. And here we have the Firekeeper. She cannot speak. Her tongue was actually cut out. And that's why she can't speak. But she can reinforce our Estus Flask, which levels up, makes it heal more, and gives us more uses from it. The first bell we're going to ring is actually going to be the one up near the church. But there's just, this place is littered with items. You just have to actually, like, look for them, like right here. one of the items I'm going to need is actually in this first area. The only issue is running through a graveyard littered with skeletons to get to it. I pretty much have to make a mad dash, and I get one chance to get in, get it, and get out. So let's see. It is down this way, and I try to grab all the items as I'm running, but that is difficult. So let's start, and I got hung on a skeleton, so this probably isn't going to go over too well. Grab that. Run along here. And the Zweihander. And then here is the first item, which I could have gotten as a starting gift, the binoculars. Oh! Yeah, Skelly hits hard. Got a spear. I'm not gonna make it. Oh, maybe I am. Nope. Oh. First death. But I did get the item that I needed, which was the Zweihander. As soon as this loads. Alright. I did not need to drink that. So the Zweihander requires 24 strength and 10 dexterity. So I've already got the dexterity to use it. I just need to level up my strength. And this, because it is literally just a ginormous sword, has a big weight to it. So even now with like, see, now it's harder to roll, harder to run. So it's a very good starting weapon that doesn't require too much of a stat investment to use. But it just weighs you down so much. And actually, pretty much, you can rescue certain NPCs and they all come back here. So if you're playing this game and you're running into people and then wondering where they're going or why they're not doing stuff, they've probably come back here. You just have to find them. This is one of the first secrets. This entire room is filled with chests. You can get red eye orbs, which are used for invading other players. A morning star and a talisman. Homeward bones, which are used to basically, no matter where you're at any point, you can just go back to the last bonfire you rested at. And talismans, which are another PvP item that when thrown at a player, stops them from using their Estus. We have no rings. Trying to see. And you can compare the stats. See, like right now, the Morning Star has all around better attacking and actually has a bleed effect. As of right now, that is stronger than the longsword that I was using. The winged spear I cannot use because I do not have enough dexterity. Talismans are used as a way to actually cast your miracles. And then we still only have our one. There's another shield. There was a shield down there, and I think I missed it. Let me see if I can make another run and find it. Yeah, right here. Pick up my bloodstain, which actually had souls in it. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Then let's get the heck out of there. I think I've only got a few more items in this area. After I collect all the items, we'll probably end it here. Yep, right up here, the rest of the items. Go ahead. Put you down. See if I can get a parry. I haven't parried, and there's gonna be a firebomb thrower somewhere. Boom. And he dropped his shield and one piece of his armor. Yep, there's the firebombs. Oh, hello, staircase dude. I can jump. Oh, no, I can't jump too. But I can get a falling attack on this guy. Where's he at? Where is he? Oh, well, we're falling. Got him. And you can pick up souls in other ways other than killing people. Like there are consumable items, which will give you souls. We got another soul here. There's one item in here, protected by this rat, which is more souls. And the last item, which is actually the best item you can get, or it's not the best item, but it is very, very useful. And I will never get it, because I'm still used to the Dark Souls 3 jumping mechanic, and in Dark Souls 1... In Dark Souls 3, it's the analog stick. You press it to jump. In Dark Souls 2, while running, you have to double tap B. Which B is already the run button, so double tapping B while holding it down. I can't imagine how long it took the first person to figure out you could jump in this game. Otherwise, that item right over there was probably labeled as ungettable. And I need to collect my souls, which are probably up. Yep, right. Ow! He becomes quite annoying. Alright. Boom. And you gotta really watch your way around these. Ring of Sacrifice, which I am not going to put this on because you lose nothing upon death but rings break. So wearing that basically says when you die, you know, you get to keep all your souls, which normally dying, you lose all your souls. And then you have to go back and get them, and if you die before you can pick them up, then they are permanently gone, and you can never get them back. Now, wearing the Ring of Sacrifice after you've died actually prevents that loss. But if you were wearing it the first time you die while you have all your souls on you, you don't lose them. So I'm going to consume all of these. Level up. I needed to use more than that. And actually get our humanity back, because I don't like looking like a burnt piece of bacon. Humanities are very hard to come by. I do not advise wasting them like I am. Let's see what we can get in the form of levels. I need 24 strength to use the Zweihander, and I can only go up to 19. As of right now, I'm pretty good on health and dexterity. I'll probably go for strength to get the 24 strength, and then immediately go for endurance. That way I do not become over-encumbered from holding a huge sword. I'm trying to determine if I want to go for more of sword and shield. I'll probably end up going for two-handing my weapon most of the time, because the big, like, you can still guard even with the weapon. It does nowhere near as much as a shield will do. Ooh, somebody just used a humanity here. But, it does nowhere near as much as guarding with the shield. But you can technically guard with the weapon, and weapons have a form of defensive stat. Damage reduction. Shields will always be better no matter what, but bigger weapons like the Zweihander, because it's so big, act more of like a shield than, like, say, a ball covered in spikes. This is a huge sword that you could just throw in front of your body, so its defensive stats will obviously be higher, and because of that, it actually makes it viable that you can just two-hand a weapon, never use a shield, and still have pretty good blocking abilities. I'll go for the first other bonfire other than this one, just to get a bit more better, because this game gives you no direction. You have no sense of direction when you start, other than they tell you there are 2 bells you need to ring, and they give you names as to where they're at, but, I mean, you have no way of knowing where these areas are. The first time I played this game, I spent hours running through that skeleton-infested area, because all it said was go down below into the Blight Town. Well, that went down, so I assumed that's what it was talking about. That area is actually so, for someone just starting out, difficult that you're not supposed to go there, and that's their way of telling you where you're supposed to go, is dependent on the difficulty of the enemies. But your first area, typically, I mean, you can choose to ring that the second bell first, but it is so, I highly, highly unadvise it if you want to play this game to enjoy it. Because it gets challenging just going the normal path. Like, going the way they want you to go gets difficult enough, much less just running around into areas that you're not supposed to go to. But this game's really good about, if you can see it, you can get to it. They don't put an item somewhere that you just cannot get to. There's always a way. Now, whether you can find that way, you know, that's purely dependent on you. And they get these guys to hang over the edges. And then they give them invincibility frames, which I will never... Oh, no, 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 no! Drink the Sunny D. Boom. Rubbish. That is actual garbage that they just handed me. Rubbish is one of the items that you can take to the bird's nest, and you get, I think it's a Titanite chunk for it, which Titanite is used for upgrading weapons, armor, and shields. So hanging on to as much of it as you can get is a pretty good idea. And we're actually coming up on that first bonfire that I was talking about. Hello. You have a nice day, buddy, because you are gonna die eventually. Nope. Oh no. I'm leaving myself way open. I'm making noob mistakes. These guys are pains to deal with if you don't know that you can kick. But, ooh, almost didn't get him. I need to take out that archer because I hate him. And we've got another shield coming up right in here. And we're coming up on a second, actually really decent weapon that I think I can use. I'm not sure. But I am about to find out. I should not have skipped through his dialogue. He pretty much just says, hey, you're the only person I've seen that looks sane in quite a while he himself talks to a bucket named Yulia. But, you know, he says that I'm insane. So we've got orange soapstone, dried fingers. I'm looking for... I really need the repair box. But I need the residence key because that unlocks a person later on. I want to buy the repair box and really that bottomless box. So let's see what I have in the form of consumables. Which really, I advise using these for levels, not to buy stuff, because see, I still don't have enough to buy it. Actually, I can buy the bottomless box.
Oh, thank you very much. Come back soon.
Well, really, to get the weapon I was talking about, you have to kill him. I'm not going to do that right now. I will come back later when I have the souls to buy that box. And then I'm going to bash his head in. Which he can be difficult to fight. Because he uses that weapon that I'm trying to get. It's called the Uchigatana. I think we've got pretty much one more item really around this area, and it's not that. I hate having to do this jump. Ooh. That will take us up here, around. We can get a crossbow. If you picked a hunter, that crossbow is now your main weapon. Because it does so much more damage than the standard bow that they give you. We will be coming up on the bonfire right here. And right here's where I'm going to leave this episode off. We're not too far from the second boss of the game. He's in this area. But I will save all that for another video. That way y'all aren't taking too much in. Because if you wanna know the story of this game, then it really takes some in-depth, like, explaining and thinking. And my voice can't handle doing that for very much longer. So, this is where I'm going to leave it off. I've been Pipknot, signing out.